The gods are cruel. Every morning, when the first croak and caw is heard, I remember. The gods are cruel. Sit down, and I'll tell you my tale. When my world was young, I had everything. A king's son, you know the type. My hubris knew no bounds but the castle walls then. The trouble was, when I grew older and greyer and hungrier, I cursed the gods, but they never cared, so I didn't. I saw no presence of them from battlefield to battlefield. My blade never had time to rust in its sheath. Many a brave soul shed their lifeblood on my blade. I've taken so many last breaths into me, I'm at least half ghost now. I never thought about it until I suffer, young one. You're the youngest I've seen. They used to send my brothers and shield maidens and archdruids. All long dead now. It's been an age. I'm surprised they remember me. Let me finish my tale, then you can end this. I had a lot of loves and sired a lot of spawn. My wild oats were never long in the sack before they were spread across all the fields. I had but one love though, my Lycinda, as beautiful as the first summer flower, and one legitimate heir, Stenlin. He was a sickly child, but he was growing out of it. Oh, the wails of women would have followed him from sacking to sacking. Such blood he would have let. When I was in battle, I was recognised for my sheer brutality. When I was facing an opponent, I would take my thumbs and put them through their eyes, just to hear the pop and squelch intermixed with their last screams. And then, when I had that, I would concave their head, splatter my cloak with their brains. The copper mist used to follow me from foe to foe. It led me like smoke. I used to like to watch them crumple from beings into small splatters. It made me feel something akin to a god. And then, at a great feast, I think it was Battle of Winchwater. They all get a bit muddled in my head now. The great druid comes to me with a pot, and in this pot is what they call a tincture. They say, this tincture will make me into a beast, and I say, I need no tincture for that. And I laugh. But then they call me a coward, and they goad me. And I took it, and I downed it. And now, when I went into battle, I blacked out. They robbed me of the eye squelch They robbed me of the brain splatter, and they robbed me of the copper mist. Now, when I went into battle, I awoke with flesh in my mouth. My allies would avoid me because they knew that I would kill both friend and foe. It got under my skin more than I got under other people's. Our numbers thinned, and that is when I woke in familiar surroundings, on the floor of my cabin, on my bearskin rug. My dead wife and child in front of me. Their entrails lining up into my mouth. And that's when I heard the swoon of the songbird and the beating wings of the carrion. I stood in disbelief as they took the form of a man. I took up my axe and I cleaved him in twain, and in a flurry of feathers he reformed. It was then that I knew this was no mere man that I could draw and quarter. This was a god, immortal, bleeding gold, lording over us mere men. That's when he spoke, in words that sounded like smoke made audible. Garen! Garen the beast fool! Murderer of the caverns and glens! Cursed once by nature to be vile and horrid. Cursed twice to become the beast that you almost became by sheer force of will. And cursed thrice now by me. Bad luck truly does come in threes. It was then that the cacophony of souls piped in, and I heard, intermixed with the croaking and cawing, my name said in cries and screams and sounds of pure agony. And then he said, I have wrenched them from the eternal banquet. You now have to live with that knowledge. You who killed them, and you who doomed them to remain. It was then that I took up my axe again, this time in a mad rage, and gutted every bird I saw. But for every gut I splattered on my walls, more took its place. I reached up to my bloodied face and felt for the first time that I was crying. Not even in the crib had I shed one single tear, but I had lost control of myself. Garen, you once cursed us, and now it has returned to you threefold. And with that, he disappeared, leaving me with the cacophony you hear now. So now you know my tale. Let us end this.
Oh, hello. Sorry, I didn't see you there. I don't get many visitors. Not for a while, anyway. Would you like to hear a story? It's probably not as exciting as ones you're used to. It's not a story of knights and sea serpents and old hags, but it is mine, and I am very proud of it. So it all starts with my birth. Now, births are rarely for the people that are actually being born. They're more for the people around them to be part of it, you know? To continue celebrating life, to contribute to their legacy and impact this newborn in some way. And such it was for me. I was gathered around by many different people who gave me many different gifts. One of these gifts in particular was very interesting. It was a small silken bag, and in some form of runes I was told that it said hope for the future. And in this bag were a deck of golden inlaid cards. Now, I found them again when I was 7 years old, and being too young to gamble or anything of that nature, I started to do magic tricks with them. Every time I shuffled them up, I would deal them out. But one card consistently would never come up. The 9 of diamonds. Whenever I set everything aside in the night and put everything away, I found it lying on the floor of the bag, as if I'd never taken it out. Though I didn't give much thought to it. I was a child, and I didn't touch the cards until later on in life. I had a life to live, you know. I had land to shoot game on, someone to court. Anyway, so we were getting my estate ready as I was moving. If I recall, I was 19, and I found the cards again. And as I didn't have much to do, I dealt myself a little solitaire set. And something I found odd was the first card I dealt was the 9 of diamonds. I was in the middle of packing it all away when one of the maids came and got me. She said that my mother had fallen ill. I rushed to her bedside and spent weeks beside her. And when it came time, I decided to go and pack up my things, as I was still in the process of moving. I was too distraught to do so before. When I re-entered the room, the maid once again rushed to me and said that my mother had made a miraculous recovery. Started singing Ave Maria, for God's sake. So I rushed again to her side and found her dead. I wouldn't have believed it if the doctor hadn't said that it was true. And then I got news that my father had also come under a mysterious illness. My mind instantly went to the cards, probably far too late. I asked the house staff what they knew of them and who had gifted them to me, but none of them could recall. And so I confined myself to study of the cards. I doused them in all manner of liquids, attempted to set fire to them, run them through with a butter knife, all to no avail. My father had a healthy life, He lived to the grand old age of 88, I was told. I didn't care much. I was obsessed. The servants came with food, and over time, the stonework and the wood of my bed shattered. The rugs frayed. And then the servants stopped coming with food. I had no heirs, and I was an only child. So our land fell to ruin. And I stayed here. I still have the cards, actually, and I'm so very sorry, but it's your burden to bear now. For what it's worth, the lands are yours, though if you know what's good for the people around you, I'll be the only company you ever keep. I wouldn't worry though, the grave chill isn't real. I've actually got quite a warm personality. Oh, hello. Are you the property legal guy? Great. I'm Donald, and I need to get rid of this land. I don't care what you do with it, donate it, sell it. I couldn't care, but I cannot have my name on the paper anymore. Let me preface this by saying I do not believe in ghosts. I do not believe in ghosts at all. I don't believe any of the hokey folk mumbo jumbo that this shithole country peddles. All right, this fucking medieval fantasy shit that you give to your children. None of my business. None of my concern. So, I bought this land, right? Just a few acres, somewhere up the hills. I didn't really think about it. There was only a few standing stones and some remnants of century-old local spear chucker huts that you guys value. But what was really important was there was a lot of natural light and a lot of those formations that the paying public go wild for. So I shipped in my own guys because none of the locals would touch the place. At extra cost, I need to say, and we all went to survey this land, and yeah, nice enough. A bunch of protesters, but I don't give a shit about them. No. So they started work, and I went back. I started having these weird dreams. Smoky, wispy people, all choking me. I woke up in a cold sweat. And then they started to subside, and I started feeling better. I didn't really give any thought to it. You know, I've got a lot of land all across the world. And then my daughter got in a car accident. 14 and in a coma. Doctors said that they'd give her the best medical treatment the money could buy. And the driver, well, he said he'd been possessed. Got 10 years, so he should. Anyway, so that happens, and I'm just coming back from India when my wife, been loyal with me for 15 years, says I'm never there anymore, and that she's filing for a divorce. Found a new lover. Thank God I made her sign that prenup. And then we had to put down the family dog. I'd have a very empty house if it was still standing. A gas fire burned the whole place down. I'm sitting in the ashes of my home. And money's running tight because between this land, my daughter's medical bills, the legal proceedings, and all my other properties, things are running a bit thin. So we start using dynamite. I don't give a shit about the bylaws. And it starts going a little bit quicker, but then the nightmares come back. And now these smoke people are choking me, screaming in my ear, asking if I want a war with the spirits, and in these dreams I drown, I'm burned alive, I'm dragged behind horses. I got the news this morning, and my daughter had passed. 14 years old. She was my pride and joy. I think after this I'm gonna do some traveling. Really find myself, you know? I mean, there's nothing left for me here. Once I sell this land, yeah. I'm gonna make it all make sense.